Hi, this is Matt with the Intergalactic Herald. Welcome to my Star Atlas Week in Review podcast. This is podcast number 42. Any articles or videos mentioned, you can find links to them if you go to intergalacticherald.com and look for News Recap 91. So just a couple quick things before I get started on all the content. I am looking for guests to be on the podcast. It could be in the form of an interview, or if you want to hang out and chat about the week in review, we could do kind of a roundtable discussion. Please go to intergalacticherald.com and go to the contact page and just reach me there, or you can reach me through the different social things, Intergalactic Herald on Discord, or forget what my exact Twitter handle is. But anyways, if you go to intergalacticherald.com, all my socials are down there if you prefer to reach out that way. I do want to mention two Star Atlas projects that I'm working on. One is a merch store that'll be at intergalacticgear.com. Still trying to find time throughout business, family, and now the holidays in mix there, but still on the plan, still trying to make progress. Still waiting for my bank application, checking account to be approved. But anyways, if you would like, please go to intergalacticgear.com, and I have a merch survey there. A few people have filled it out in the last few weeks, so I greatly appreciate that. It gives me some ideas once I get all the infrastructure, the business structure and financial stuff set up, and then I get the e-commerce store and the links to the merch supplier set up, then I can actually finally start getting to the fun creative part, which is building the actual merchandise. And then the second thing I'm working on is called Intergalactic Coalition. I'm calling it my non-guild guild. So this is for Star Atlas gamers who just want to hang out, talk to other gamers, not really interested in joining a traditional guild that will exist within Star Atlas. Still want to just swap stories, talk about things. But what I'm going to do different than a lot of groups or communities is going to use a different platform than Discord. So it's actually a paid platform, hence why this is one reason this is a paid community. So the benefit of this is it provides for email notifications on threaded discussions so that you can not have to show up every day and you miss something because it's not totally based around a chat metaphor. Anyways, please check it out at Intergalactic Coalition. I do have an interest survey you can fill out there. If you leave your contact information, once I reach critical mass, I'll be contacting everybody with more information, how we'll get started, fee structure, things like that. So let's go ahead and move into the content from this past week. So first one I'm bringing up is Metaverse Nomads has their live stream every Sunday, and lots of great topics. Highly recommend if you like to hear that. They do talk about crypto, Star Atlas, sometimes other Web3 games, sometimes they have guests. Anyways, so I listen on the replay on YouTube. I just, Sunday morning, I have other family chores and things to do, so I can't listen live. So I usually try to do it later when I'm finishing up some chores. Anyways, one of the topics that came up that caught my attention was, again, the discussion about the Neo Tokyo that CEO Michael Wagner purchased to be part of a group. I think I talked about it last podcast. Again, in the business world, I sometimes call these masterminds or networking groups, so totally cool. It was again brought up that he paid individually $300,000 to buy that NFT, which in this case they're using, I think the NFT is kind of a gated system, so you buy that and you get part of the group. But somebody mentioned in the chat that was part of the live stream is, well, why isn't that money being spent on ads? And of course, given that I run ads for my clients in my business, that just perked up my curiosity on that. And I think somebody mentioned that recently Google Ads has changed out their policies, or will be changing it to allow for crypto. Not sure if it was crypto or crypto games. I vaguely remember actually getting an announcement through my official Google newsletters and stuff that I subscribe to. But I thought I'd brought in and just kind of give you a couple thoughts on, well, should Star Atlas be doing marketing in general? And one thought I had was, I think there were, and then they had the staff reductions. So I mean, they were posting on Instagram, Facebook, forget her name, but she was doing like kind of weekly recaps on Twitter. Oh man, it's terrible. Names just slip me. Anyways, so I'm sure they lost a lot of people. In some sense, if you look back over this last year, a lot of kind of some of the other outreach, there was no awards. What was it called? Joni Awards. That didn't happen. Anyways, I'm speculating, but sure feels like there isn't a marketing team anymore at Star Atlas. I could be wrong, but if there is, the people aren't out there publicly, i.e. they're not part of the community team and on Discord and Atlas Brews and things like that. And like I said, I feels like besides Twitter, all their social channels have disappeared, not been updated. But I have heard Michael Wagner say on a couple of his interviews that they're really not looking to promote yet to quote unquote mainstream gamers. So in some senses, if you're not trying to reach a mainstream audience, traditional marketing, whether that's through paid ads, in my opinion, makes perfect sense. There's no reason to. The people that are going to find it through, say, the crypto community, already in the community for 2 or 3 years. There are obviously a number of content creators within the Star Atlas community. I guess I'm there now that I'm doing a podcast instead of just curating everyone else's content, which I still do in my newsletter. Yes, that's a self-promotion there. Please go to intergalactichero.com and sign up for my weekly news recap email. But anyways, I think, again, since we're not targeting mainstream gamers, it wouldn't really make much sense to be out advertising. Secondly, and I'll get into this a little more later on when we talk about the latest version of the Sage Labs that came out. I still think there's a high barrier to entry for people. And again, I know it's self-serving. I created a guide on my website, again, intergalactichero.com, to help people because I was struggling 2 years ago to figure out how to get a wallet and, I mean, just where to go and what to do and how to log in. Again, now that I've done it all and something like Sage 3D shows up, don't even think about it, or Zealy, or the raffle, the golden ticket raffle, which you have to use your wallet and transfer stuff. I mean, I don't even think about it anymore, but that's because I've been playing around through Star Atlas with all the different crypto things. So I don't think the onboarding is anywhere close. In fact, it's the winter break for my college age child, and I was going to show him the new Sage 3D and see if maybe that'll get him involved. But again, I showed him 2 years ago. Of course, it wasn't a game, but I mean, he'd been to me the perfect target audience. What are they? Gen Z? I don't know my age groups anymore. Not millennials, but whatever the kids nowadays are called. I thought this would be great, but again, it's not a traditional game, so I don't think we should do it. The other thing though is, as a business owner myself, you cannot overstate the benefit of networking, making connections at this phase in the game development. So if purchasing this NFT to join Neo Tokyo gives Michael Wagner connections to people and awareness that the project exists that they didn't hear about, again, personally, it was his money. He can do anything he wants with it, but I have no problems if the company paid for that. I know, again, it gets back into runway and all that other stuff, but I'll get into in a second as we learn some more stuff about the runway. It's the price of doing business. So anyways, I don't want to get off too much. It was just got me really thinking about, should Star Atlas be marketing and things like that? And right or wrong, it sure definitely seems like this year they've taken a very, I don't even know what to call it. I guess not guerrilla marketing and not kind of grassroots, maybe grassroots. But anyways, they have a very vibrant community. If you're listening to this, you're part of that community. Obviously, this podcast would not reach mainstream gamers. It's really talking to the people that already know what's going on. They just can't keep up with it every week. So anyways, there's my thoughts on that. So moving on to some of the other content that came out this week. AFIA's newsletter, which again, I believe is published by Funcracker, is always a great source of content. Again, if you go to my website, look at recap number 91, there'll be a link to his newsletter. But again, he puts it out every week. So I highly recommend checking that out. I believe he does have an email sign up so you can get it yourself. Anyways, he was able to get some information about Star Atlas, or in this case, I always say Automaton. Anyways, the actual company, not just the game. Some of the revenue information, and apparently it was really interesting. I guess according to him, the first week of December had more revenue than the whole month of November. Now, again, I'm not 100% sure how they define revenue. In my limited understanding of like a profit loss statement, that's stuff that came into their bank accounts. We won't even get into accounts receivable or whatever. So I'm going to interpret this as being what we've heard in the past, which is direct ship sales on the marketplace, that Star Atlas is the one selling it, and obviously the fee that gets tacked on to all marketplace transactions, and the fee that exists within the Atlas payer within Sage Labs. So again, not 100% sure whether this goes into Star Atlas's bank account or if it goes into the DAO. I'm not following that DAO situation as closely anymore since it's been put on the back burner. But anyways, quote unquote, they made revenue and they made a whole lot of it in the first week of December. Awesome. The other thing that was mentioned was that I think it was Michael Wagner stated somewhere that the monthly spending is between $600,000 and $800,000 for Star Atlas. So again, what's spending? Obviously, I got to believe a huge chunk of that salary. Huge chunk has got to be the outsourced fees they pay for the different game studios. Again, they're not in the manufacturing sector, so they don't have warehouses and they don't have transportation costs and shipping costs and logistics and stuff like that. So I gotta believe most of it is salaries and outsourced salaries in a sense. So, but anyways, first time we've ever heard kind of what's their, I guess we'll call it burn rate, but that has a different connotation within the startup industry. So anyways, so again, going back to you paid $300,000 to get involved in a networking group. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's a lot of money, but it's one-time access. You can, again, I'm sure they don't depreciate it like they do for real equipment within a business setting. Anyways, I'm not an accountant. Things. Anyways, but a couple of other things that came out from it was, never mind. I don't even remember what that is. Moving on. It's something written down here. Gamers or speculators, doesn't matter. It's been a long week for me personally, my business. I work too many long hours. Sorry for the yawn. But anyways, moving on. The other thing that was mentioned there was a collaboration with Honeyland. Now, I'm not sure who Honeyland is, but apparently there's going to be some sort of craftable item in Sage Labs that if you do what you need to do, you craft it, you get this thing. It's a Honeyland object, and then 100 of them become some sort of Honeyland NFT or something. So cool. Again, given the small number and the fact that I'm not really playing Sage Labs, I was like, yeah, I'm not even going to try to figure it out. I'm sure some people have way more skills to figure out how to get that and get that 1 out of 100 or something like that. But what the cool part, I think, in the bigger picture is that Star Atlas is now back into kind of the collaboration game. Don't think it was this year, probably last year. There was some collaborations with Sand. I can't remember what that virtual space was called. Sandland? No, that doesn't sound right. But anyways, whatever it was. And they were doing some things that way. So I think, again, all real cool that some things and the fact that there's actually a craftable item. So it's not just we'll give you enter a drawing or something like that, that there's actual gameplay that goes along with it. So I think that's really cool. The other thing that happened this week for kind of additional content was the regular Wednesday Atlas Brew. I think this one was titled like the next 10 days or something. So Santi, Dom, and Jose, sorry, I'm not sure if I'm saying that 100% right, did their typical thing, but it was more focused on some of the upcoming things. So lots of discussion about, and they did a brief demo. I think it was live because they had another gentleman show up, and I wonder if he was running the screen. But the new Sage 3D, which I'll get into a little later, because I actually watched different order of videos on how I watched them. So, but I wanted to do chronological so that, the Atlas Brew came out on Wednesday and then other videos came out later. So anyway, I think Star Atlas TV and Hologram News Network, I think both have replays of the live stream on Discord. So you can check that out there. But of course, by the time you listen to this, Sage Labs or Sage 3D, I'm not sure how we say it, is already out. So you can already go look at it. But there were two other things that haven't been spoken of more this week. One is the new DAC platform. So again, this is the Guild's registration system. So I was actually listening when I was driving, so I wasn't watching the video. I was just listening to it. So I think they did some video or screen capture demo. So I didn't physically or visually see what they were showing, but they did note some things like how to create a DAC, give it a name, a few other points. I have to admit, I kind of tuned out on the features only because it was a preview, and so until we actually see it released, who knows what's going to come out. A couple interesting things that were mentioned. One was that this was a, quote, VO release, and I guess that's, again, the internal name for like the very first one, so version 0. So it was said that there won't be a ton of features, which I have to admit, as I heard that, I was like, so we've been said this is coming. We don't really know what's coming. And now something's coming, but it's really basic. And then there was, again, I think someone mentioned, well, this isn't the MVP, which I assume stands for minimum viable product. So making a lot of assumptions in what was just kind of small chatter in the Atlas Brew, but it's not what they want. It's not really ready yet, but they're showing something, and we'll be able to do something, but you have to wait to see what that something is until we release it. Okay, and was stated, even though this is one of the 3 things that was supposed to come out by the end of the year, that, well, we don't have a release date. And I think later on I'm going to talk about release dates, so I'll skip over more of that. The last one that was mentioned of the 3 was this new showroom version, so the UE5 game 2.1.9 version, even though the next one was said to be the 2.2. This is sort of an interim, I guess. I guess this video that they also were talking about that obviously has come out since then is taken from that. So kind of give us the things. But overall, they really just simply tease it. Yep, there's going to be lots of things to discover, so we're not going to tell you what those are. But a lot of things related to the experimental mode. And I had actually personally forgot about that. Now, part of the reason I forgot about it is because if you've been listening to me for a while, I didn't have a good enough video card to run the showroom, especially after the last release. I could run it before, but then the most recent one, I think it was a patch, actually caused it to go away. So it's very disappointed, but I'm not going to blame anybody for my lack of resources, because I didn't have a great video card and it was old. So for my early Christmas gift, I did get a new NVIDIA, what did I get? RTX 4070, and it works. Though, as a quick aside, I found out part of my problem was my Windows page setting that apparently, even though I'm a good IT guy, I messed up potentially years ago. Anyways, so one way or another, though, I should have a video card that's great for multiple years. At least that's my hope. So actually, I was thinking I think I remember the experimental mode was in one of the versions something you need a really big video card to handle too, or wait 20 minutes for it to load or something. So I'm kind of more interested now in this to go and try. Plus, it kind of fits with, it's a discovery thing. Again, I could get bored of it really quick, but I am kind of intrigued. I always have been intrigued by the 3D aspect of games. Again, not that I'm not interested in the mobile app or the browser app or the DAO or any of that, but again, been playing traditional 3D games since before there was 3D games, a la, Atari 2600 and Nintendo, and anyways. So that's something I was actually kind of cool to see that they're going to put more stuff in there and kind of not telling us what's in there, so kind of cool to discover. So anyways, so that was Atlas Brew. Really great 1-hour discussion. They mention all the things that are coming up again in this kind of 10-day period, but again, half of that stuff has already occurred, so you don't need to hear from me about it. Moving on, a couple other videos to call out. One was the Metaverse of Nomads had his, not necessarily, unfortunately, regularly anymore, but he does occasionally still put out content, and always great news recaps and everything. He does a great job putting everything together. Always enjoyed following him over the last 2 years. He mentioned, and again, I listened to this before I listened to Atlas Brew, but just wanted to give him credit for that they have removed in the marketplace that the resources and skins no longer are able to be bought and sold via USDC. They're all in Atlas. And the key point he brought up, and other people brought up why they've been asking for this, is that it gets it where there's more purpose for Atlas. Now you can buy the resources only. You don't have any USDC. And that's fine, because you can always exchange Atlas for USDC at any point. So. And then another content creator, Beyond the Horizon, put out another video, kind of updates and things. What was really interesting is he did a kind of reaction video to the new trailer, which I kind of alluded to earlier. So I guess this trailer was made for the game, was it Game 3 Awards? Yeah, I can't remember. Again, this is one of the problems. You hear something during the week, you think about it, then you watch all the videos because you don't have time during the week, and then you're trying to remember where you actually heard it. But he did sort of a reaction video to it. And I don't actually know where the link is. It's not on their YouTube channel. I think I found it on Twitter. So I guess we look at the Star Atlas Twitter feed. You hopefully can find it earlier this week. But this was, again, I think the video for the Game 3 Awards. So it's, what do you call it? New images, nothing repeated. So there's lots there. Don't remember much of it except one that and again, that's the point. This is what caught my eye. There was some scene in there of an in-game character looking up and a big ship goes by, and I was like, has that been fully developed, or is it just the outside? But it realized that there were a couple escort ships, and I think they're the new, or the Pierce, is it the X6, R6? One of those two. One's the repair. Probably X then. You would think R6 would be repair ship. Anyways, and I have a couple of those. So before my video card started giving out, I was able to walk through mine. And that was one of the ships they had fully done all the interiors. And again, it really shows the promise. I'm glad they've taken a few ships to that level. And whatever the size of those ships were compared to this other one, and they were just moving the camera ever so slightly, looking with the guy looking up. And I was like, okay, yeah. It reminds me, I was just started the new Star Trek, what's it called? Strange New Worlds Season 2. And at the beginning, there's a montage of like a starbase with all ships flying around. And they obviously just wanted to do a really cool CGI of all the Star Trek stuff. Anyways, it was cool, even if the ship wasn't fully developed. But again, if that's footage that this Showroom 2.1.9 will have in it, yeah, it's cool. So we'll see. Again, just very cool. Okay, so the big thing that happened this last week is this, I'm not sure we're calling it Sage Labs 3D or just Sage 3D. Anyways, it came out as announced on December 14th. I have to admit I was a little shocked that it came out so quickly, but I'm going to give credit where credit's due. They said it was coming out before the end of the year. It has come out before the end of the year. The big key is, I guess this is using the same game ID. That word's been thrown around a lot, but what I vaguely understand it means is that the part of the stuff that's on the blockchain, because again, Star Atlas is building the game logic on smart contracts on the Solana blockchain, that it accesses the same place there. So this Sage 3D and the Sage Labs are all in the same place. So if you do one thing in one and then log into the other, we'll call it an interface, it's already known there. So that's the same game ID allows that to occur. So anyways, so that's kind of cool. It's not like what we were told before that we would have to like move our ships out. And again, maybe that's coming down the road with the new Starbase one, because again, pretty sure that was mentioned on, you know what I need? I need a list of all Star Atlas employees, their titles, their Discord handles, and their real names, because I can't remember who's who. It's like twice as many names to remember. Chipto, I think. Chipto? Yeah. Game design lead? Yeah. Anyways, I thought he mentioned on a previous interview on Metaverse Nomads that the new Starbase, because the goal of that one is to build the Starbases, meaning the current one, Sage Labs, has to go away because it already has Starbases. Anyways, sorry, totally off on that. But anyways, you can just get into it. I want to call it Metaverse Explorer and Atlas 3 both did live streams of them playing it. I think they were both hour plus. So if you want to see more, watch their live streams. Well, of course, I watched them after the fact. So they're still recording on their YouTube channel. So anyways, definitely check that out if you're curious. You want to see what others were doing. I'm waiting for the kind of condensed reviews. Again, just timing. And again, don't want to take this out of context, but I just don't get into live streams. We single people. I love Metaverse Nomads. That's a great discussion. But I don't know. Maybe if I was in the chat while I was live, it makes sense. Anyway, sorry. It's just not my style. I guess technically you're listening to me talk live stream, but I don't know. I'm just talking. So I don't know. I'm used to podcasts. I'm not used to Twitch style. Maybe, that's probably what it is. I'm not into Twitch. But again, it's not because I'm just not into Twitch. Well, I don't have the time for Twitch. But I guess in a sense, that's probably what they did was Twitch style gaming videos. I maybe have to I may need to retract that. I'm willing to try and see if I could enjoy a live stream. The problem is time. Because, I guess it's like watching a live sporting game, football, for example. It's live. There's announcers. Maybe it's that. No, I guess they're announcers too. Okay, sorry. Never mind. If you want to go watch them, they're great to see what's going on. Personally, though, I'm going to wait to the first patch release, and that's only because I just don't want to deal with the bugs. Maybe I'll fire it up if I can find some time this weekend, but my weekends already seem to be completely full, and I got some clients who want. Oh, never mind. Sorry. It's been a long, hard week for my business. So anyway, so it's out. Again, I want to give credit where credit's due. Came out before the end of the year. So they met that. However, and again, I don't mean that in a bad way, but I guess in the thread that announced, Michael Wagner, the CEO, mentioned that there will be bugs and, quote unquote, there are already known bugs in it. So be aware of that. So here's my little soapbox of the week. I know the StarOS team is building, quote unquote, building in public. They are also releasing lots of content. Lots of things. But why are you releasing with bugs? And why are you releasing it with bugs a week before Christmas? And it was mentioned on the Atlas Brew, the StarOS team will be taking a they're closing the business for the holidays, which is fine. I'm closing my business. I'm going to still check my clients once a day. But again, once a day is not 8-hour plus days. So why are you releasing it with bugs? Now, I guess, no, so here's my speculation. One is because the game ID thing didn't change. So if you do one command in Sage 3D and there's a bug, you can just go back to Sage Labs and undo what you did. Like, I don't know, dock to ship, and then the dock doesn't work, well, you go to the other one. So there's no harm. Okay, cool. But if you can't play Sage 3Ds, why are we doing it? I don't know. Plus, there's only a week to fix bugs before the developers take a, totally normal holiday. I'm sorry, I just don't know. I just don't understand. But whatever, it's out. But I had another kind of, not conspiracy, but just, thing. Like, it came out on time. And what was different, or maybe what was running from the Sage Labs raw? Well, one, people were very upset with bugs. I mean, some people had their ships locked up for weeks where they couldn't do anything with it. So are they telling us there's bugs in it so that nobody's upset? And are they saying, well, you can always just use the other more mature product, Sage Labs, to do whatever you wanted to do. You just don't get the cool 3D aspect. Okay, cool, I guess. The other interesting thing I thought was there was a lot of issues with previous beta testers that were invited to test the Sage Labs before release and who gets it. Well, everybody got on the same day. There was no beta testers. So I kind of feel like they learned a few lessons from that rollout, and we should just, they're upfront that there's bugs, and we didn't do a beta test, so nobody got bent out of shape that they weren't involved. Again, maybe I'm just being nitpicky, but that goes to the last thing I wanted to kind of say was, I guess maybe my nitpickiness is that as much as even though a little bit on the YouTube video from the Atlas Brew to see the 3D rendering of a ship or scanning for a resource and a bunch of asteroids, it's still the fundamental same gameplay that Sage Labs has. And I think someone mentioned on the Atlas Brew, well, 3D is really going to help people who really need that to help visualize the game. Not disagreeing, but it's still not a game. It's an economic loop where you do mining and crafting, which you could do in Sage Labs. And maybe part of it is that the reason I left Sage Labs is I completed my goals, and it was, goals was Max Hog and the game land, whatever it was. So I got what I wanted, and I don't care if I have some copper or iron, or I don't know what they do. They don't go anywhere. And once the golden tickets are done, there's supposedly, and I think it came up in the Atlas Brew, that there'll be some next thing, which is fine. They didn't want to announce that yet. That's fine. But again, what is that going to be, and will that do it? And again, I guess this goes back to building in public. I mean, again, we're seeing the internal stuff. We're seeing literally one step another. There's nothing that, well, sure doesn't appear there's nothing we're not being kind of made aware of, at least with the public products. I'm sure they're doing development and decisions and stuff that we won't see for 6 to 12 months. But again, the 3D itself isn't going to get more people involved. And again, it's fine if I don't even think the goal, like I mentioned earlier, to get mainstream gamers into this. I mean, actually, I just was realizing if the star-based version of Sage is about building the star bases, I remember it being said that those are going to be based upon the factions, so that each, not guilds, but again, factions are going to be building the star base in their area of space. And so people in that faction contribute. Now, maybe guilds are contributing and maybe that's why we need the DAC platform first. Again, maybe this will all make sense when we look back 12 months. But for me personally, I'm still just looking for fun and engaging gameplay. And Sage Labs lost my engagement. I guess it was fun for a little bit, but then it became too much a grind. Which again, I know it's crafting, it's questing, it's grinding. They call it grinding it is. But I was thinking about over winter break, like, oh cool, I'll have a lot of time to play something in Star Oz, and I'm like, well, it's not Labs, and yeah, maybe hopefully the showroom 2.1.9 comes out, though I forgot it was mentioned. Well, it might not come out this year now, so now they've already put a caveat on that one. Sorry, I'm not trying to pick on them as far as dates, but given that the meme of 425 is now ingrained, in fact, I found it I don't know where I saw that. I guess it could have been a Foundation Room. Never mind. So for me, personal gameplay, I'm looking for something that is fun, can do a little bit, still accomplish a goal, something like that. Beyond the Horizon has been grinding in Sage Labs and got his Mamba X and did a quick video on it and posted. I'm like, great, awesome, major goal, awesome. That was just way outside my level of time and interest to do it. But anyways, the way to wrap this little soapbox or rant or ramble, I guess I don't rant. These are ramblings. I'm liking Score more and more. I go in every morning. I get my resources from my claim stakes. I fill up all my ships every day. Then on Friday, I go in and claim all the resources from the ships. And my inventory grows. And I'm getting R4 and I'm getting Atlas. And now Atlas is worth a little more. So there's an actual dollar value that, again, it's nothing more than a couple, what is it? I think maybe $10, but hey, it's $10 this week that I earned. It's passive income. Cool. And I have to admit, Zilly is even more interesting. Hey, I'll get the quote unquote cute new pet if I do all the quests and get the, 7,500 points. There's steps, there's a goal, there's a known outcome. And I guess that's the problem with Sage in general. There's no path, there's no outcome. Yeah, golden tickets notwithstanding, and maybe because the golden ticket, I'm sorry, I need to wrap up. Golden tickets just, in the end, one drawing and lost complete interest. And I know I'm not putting a lot in, but when you see same names winning 4 or 5 times every week, and you see the total volume in there, it does feel like Lotto or Powerball or whatever, and it's fun, but after the one time you don't lose, I don't feel like ever playing for another 6 months, even though I don't put a lot of money in it. When I do buy a few tickets, it's just a chance to dream. But I didn't get that same kind of euphoria rush from the golden tickets after a while. But again, it's almost over. Missed opportunity. It goes back to that marketing question. That would have been an awesome marketing campaign to onboard people. But again, I'm still so I'll leave on a pause now. Anyway, so I'm liking Score, I'm liking Zilly, even though they're monotonous and yeah, I don't know. I guess you put them all together and start liking that. Again, I'll reserve judgment until I maybe play around with the experimental mode in the showroom now that I got my video card. But of course, I needed to buy, $550, $600 with tax, video card to go on a computer, which already had to have parts. Again, that's not where a lot of people can spend. So I know I'm fortunate to have resources to do that. Anyways, okay, done. That's my rambling for the week. Thank you. Obviously, I got a little off, but who knows? Hopefully you enjoy it. Anyways, to wrap this up, thanks for listening. Again, just want to mention, if you want to get the links to any of the different content creators I mentioned, please go to intergalactichero.com. Look for news recap number 91. If you don't see the newsletter sign up or you don't get the website pop up, please do put your email in, then it comes to you every week, Sunday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, U.S. I don't know what that is, UTC. Sorry, just too much math. So do that. And then again, just to promote my 2 projects that are slowly happening. Again, my StarOS merch store at intergalacticgear.com. Please go there and fill out an interest survey. Please leave your email if you want to be considered for future groups and deals and notifications and all that stuff. And then if you're a gamer like myself, you just want to hang out, chat, or I shouldn't say chat, communicate, post, reply, get email notifications for ones you want to follow. I'm hoping to start a paid community for us to hang out. Need a little bit of entrance fee or membership fee, if you want to call it that, to help offset the cost of the software and my time. If you go to Intergalactic Herald, you'll notice there are now ads there. I have qualified for the Google ad program, so I got to make money. Can't do all this for free. So, bear with it. Hopefully they're not too disruptive to your experience there. But anyways, thanks for listening. We're middle of December, so a couple more weeks and we'll flip the calendars and go to another new year. Pretty sure I'm approaching my 2-year anniversary whenever I bought my first ship. Man, I wonder if there's a way to figure that out. That'd be kind of cool. I know I bought it right before Christmas, so it feels like sometime this year. But anyways, yeah, so 2 years of actively, well, I guess if you own a ship, you're actively involved. And I guess I was watching content creators after that, trying to keep up. Though maybe it took a couple months before I started doing that. Anyways, thanks for listening. I hope you have a great week ahead. And again, this is Matt with the Intergalactic Herald.